Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Minutes of reports received and filed.
We have the April 2015 County Treasurer's Reconciliation Report. That's all.
Liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
We got leadership tomorrow.
Yep.
Got ED today, don't we?
Yep, forgot about that one too.
I'm not gonna make it.
No, I'm not
You gonna be
either.
there in the morning?
Probably not.
Okay, I'm
Well-
gonna try to make tomorrow mornings too.
Are you gonna go to today's?
Yeah. Curious to see what they
Yeah,
got.
I'd like to go too, but I got too much service.
4-H got 3-gun shoot Saturday. You should come out. Timmon Farm down Deer Haven,
yeah.
Warrensville.
What time is that?
7 or 8. I think 8 o'clock's when it starts. They start registration around 7, start shooting around 8. So,
Sounds like a good time.
yeah, I've won a gun there the last 2 years, so I kinda gotta go. I gotta defend my title too. I won it last time.
Nobody show up or what?
Won the gun in a drawing and I won first place in the old farts division.
Oh, no, old parts to
Well, on old farts, they had older farts, the ones that can't run. I just said I wasn't gonna run.
You got anything else? HCJ's barbecues tonight. I'm gonna go to that. Friday, Lions Club's gonna be all over the corner selling peanuts, so buy peanuts. And then Saturday is Kid Fest downtown from 10 to 2. We are gonna deviate a little bit from our agenda because Debbie's got to go to training. So you want to do the second and final reading of budget adjustment number 6 first?
Yes, this is the $66,181.25. It's for the stormwater on Woodward Lake subdivision. And I do need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable.
So moved.
Do I have one in there?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay.
Thanks, Debbie.
Okay, she's off. Bids and contracts. Pringer HVAC contract.
You wanna have your discuss stuff before we go to this?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back to my information. Rainey, do you want to come up and address we got to talking about some stuff, and I said, if you want to come up and address the whole commission, and we can still talk about it. We've awarded the bid. We haven't signed a contract yet, but get that to Chris. I got to figure out when I said
That's a court order. Thanks, sir.
Sure.
We looked at this project with the VRV or VRF product in mind. That was the basis of the proposal. Kind of decided that that was roughly a $500,000 project, so we thought we would try to save the county some money. We wrote a letter and asked for addendum that would allow you to consider other options. We got approval for that, so we took a really, really detailed look at the job as to why it was problematic and why it had not worked over the years. It's about a 20-year-old building, and I don't think it's ever really performed well since new. We found several design issues that are detailed in here, one of which, to do space temperature control in this building, instead of having a wall thermostat like you generally would have at your comfort level, they put the space temperature controllers, 16 out of 25 inside the register. Well, that's a horrendous way of trying to control the space temperature. So that's one major problem. The fan coils that they used that actually deliver the cooling had a plastic fan blade in it that didn't work very well at all. Another problem, the chill water valves on them were not really chill water compliant. They condensated and then they quit working. They were also not a modulating series, so they were on off. The last real design problem was the sequence of operation called for when you ask for heat, open the heating valve and then slow or speed up the fan motor to control the temperature in the space. It creates a lot of stratification. When you slow the air down, the heat rises to the ceiling and you don't have anything to bring that back down to the floor. So we kind of looked at it real close as to what we could do. Another few things that are related to the building is the control system that's in there right now is a 96, 95 version, somewhere in there. It's kind of antiquated, parts aren't really available, doesn't do a very good job of being user-friendly for the people who have to operate it. There's a makeup air unit that in the kitchen when they're running it, it's intended to bring the air back into the kitchen that's being exhausted out of the hood. That makeup air has not run for several years, which what that means is we're pulling all the conditioned air out of the building through the exhaust hood and just discharging it. So you're paying to cool it and you're discharging it outside. Very difficult to cool a building if you're not matching the air coming back in on a hood in the kitchen. The last issue that I seen was there's a lot of growth on the registers, be that mold or whatever, inside the duct, on the registers, pretty much everywhere we looked. So what we came up with was, let me back up a little bit, something that made us want to even do this is the base system in that building is a very, very quality system. It has a 4-pipe system, which is very good system, not very common because of the expense to install it. There is a high-quality copper hot water loop and a high-quality chill water loop made of copper going through the whole building, which makes for a nice system in that you can have simultaneous heating and cooling going on. One room can be heating, one room can be cooling, and they're totally independent systems. You got a very nice Trane chiller that was put in 2006, providing the chill water loop, and then you've got a high efficiency Fulton boiler. Fulton boiler is like a pulse furnace that you've probably seen, but it's a boiler. So there's a little more to it than a standard boiler, but if they're maintained and the parts installed that they're recommended as a maintenance item, they work reliably. So what we looked at was completely rehabilitating the system. All the fan coils, we're going to upgrade this plastic blower and put the manufacturer's kit in it to upgrade the motor and blower assembly. We are going to clean the hot water and chill water coil in them. We're going to put a whole new control system in the building, along with a wall sensor for every zone, so they don't have to worry about the sensor being up in the duct and everybody can control their own thermostat. With a few exceptions, there's some containment rooms or some cells, I don't know what you call them exactly, but those rooms we were going to put a wall plate and that adjustment would be remotely. So it would be like a stainless steel cover, look like a light switch cover that's flat, flush, and there's a sensor behind it. So we'll be sensing the temperature and controlling to the space temperature, but there won't be a thermostat that they can knock off or manipulate. We're going to fix that makeup air unit. We will be putting a product called GPS, Global Plasma Solutions. It is a plasma generator, and we're going to put that on every fan coil. It creates an ionization in the air that kills molds and aids in indoor air quality. Should make the building smell much better and should kill funguses and bacterias and all those kinds of things. Similar to the old electronic air cleaner, similar to the UV light technologies, some other type of things, but it is a non-serviceable item. It's not something that wears. Once you put it in, they're saying that it has a 20-year life or better. Product's not been out there that quite that long for me to say that it will last that long, but it is if you look into the operation of it, there's not a wearable item there, so technically it should last a long time. But the studies have been really, really good, and on some of the last pages it talks about this, about how much success they've had at killing the molds and things like that. A couple of the benefits of our system: naturally it saves the county quite a bit of money, so there's a lower cost benefit. There's no added electronics. One of our concerns about that building, we installed that chiller. We've had some issues in the past with electricity in that area, causing problems with the chiller going down and some other issues. I think a lot of that's been resolved. Greg can probably talk a little bit about that, possibly.
I think it was resolved before.
I think they put
I've had to go in there this weekend to restart it. It went down yesterday, I had to restart it. At the beginning of every season, the boiler, it will not automatically come on. So I've got to make sure that staff knows how to go back in there to reset that boiler, because the boiler or the electronics, for some reason, it does not work the way it should, and the chiller is not coming on the way it should. So we've got to go back out there and reset it almost every other day now.
With the chiller, the control system is not telling the chiller to run along with the flow switch, is what we determined on it. So the control system is going to fix the chiller problem. The boiler issue is, at least I think so, there is a maintenance kit that goes onto that boiler, and it's supposed to be installed every 5 years.
Right.
And then every year,
Y'all just put a new boiler kit on it in November.
from our records show, I think that was just a yearly one. There's a diaphragm for the air flapper, and then every 5 years there's a gas diaphragm and a gas flapper, and there's several items. There's 2 kits out there.
Gary put that on back in November or December, along with the low water cutoff sensor,
Okay.
the spark plug, the Honeywell control box, and it still does not work right.
Okay. When I looked at our records, it showed a yearly maintenance kit, not the 5-year maintenance kit. But so in this proposal, I've got the 5-year maintenance kit, and then the control system to address the chiller issue. But one of my concerns was I forget what they put on there. Did they put a power conditioner on the chiller at one time, because we had
I think there's a conditioner module in the electrical room.
Yeah, I think I think we had a lot of electrical interferences in that area. So one of my concerns was the electrical interferences affecting the VRV system, because it's a pretty electronics intense piece of equipment. So there was a little concern about that. Another benefit to this system is it's much less of an inconvenience for installation. If we upgrade the existing system, we don't have to have a lot of downtime in the building. We can get in there, get it done, and get out. Most of the work, all the work would be in the attic, as opposed to having to be down in the space. The refurbishing would make for a much simpler system. You don't have the complexities of a VRF. Not only is it saving you a lot of money, but it's just a pretty common system that anyone can work on. You'll have local service available for you for this type of system. One would think it would be more reliable because of that simplicity. You don't have all the equipment pads outside. Right now we've got a chiller that's located out in a fenced area on the other side of the drive, whereas if we put the VRF in, there ends up being a bunch of equipment pads along the side of the building that may be a little bit of an issue. I think it would be a whole lot more user-friendly for the end user with this type of system. You end up with just a nice little thermostat that you go up and down on, warmer, colder, and that's about all you have for a user interface. Very, 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 very easy. And then the big thing, the indoor quality. You know, the GPS, I think, is the real key to making the system function well and having a nice quality indoor air without the growths. And we should be able to do all that at a considerable savings for the county.
Refurbishing a 20-year-old system, I mean, we've still got a big part of it, I guess, is 20 years old, though. What's
The piping is the heart of the system, and you're talking about a copper piping system that'll outlast anyone in this room. You know, it's you've got two piping loops, a hot water piping and a chill water piping, both of which are copper. You know, you just don't have any problems with that. The chiller is a 2006 version. The boiler is a 20-year-old system, you're correct. But with proper maintenance, we've had good luck with that particular boiler. I know you're saying you have a problem. I don't know what that problem is. I haven't looked at it personally, but if it's not leaking, we ought to be able to make that boiler run reliably.
will any of this lower our utility costs a little bit?
Absolutely. Just making the system run efficiently is going to have a reduction in energy. We also, with the GPS, if you read in there, it'll talk about the fresh air requirement. We will be able to reduce the amount of fresh air required per person if we put the GPS on. Right now, code says that you have to provide 15 to 20 CFM per person to meet codes. If you use the GPS product, that can get dropped all the way down to 5 CFM. So the amount of ventilation air that you're bringing when it's 100 degrees outside or when it's 0 degrees outside, that's a big deal to reduce that by a quarter or so, a third to a quarter. So there's a big energy savings there. The system with the makeup air not running and us exhausting all the air out of the space, that's a huge energy consumer. So if we can get that running, which is in my proposal, that's going to not only help the energy, but it's also going to reduce your utility bills.
And you know, we should be using the microphones. I'm sorry. You're supposed to yell at me and.
John is on his own, Lynn.
I just have a couple of questions, because ever since I've been at the center, we've never had heat in our lobby area. It is freezing cold or extremely hot during the summertime because of all that glass. Within our day area, we've never been able to keep it cool or heated since I've been there since 2007. I guess my question would be, what guarantees do we have that with the rehabbing, will that provide the necessary comfort zones that we need for our lobby, for the day room, because of the glass that we have there, to provide the needed comfort that I've not seen since 2007. Never. Even with folks coming out there and working on it. I'm not advocating one way or the other. I'm just wanting to make sure we've got heating and we've got cooling in the place. And then if you were to go with this alternate bid, what guarantee do we have that we don't have to come back and pay for a repair again because something else isn't working?
Well, there certainly is no guarantee on that something's not going to break. There's not going to be guarantee on the new equipment. There will be warranties on the new equipment that may be better than what your existing equipment is going to be. The fact that we are going in and redoing every one of the fan coil units, cleaning the coils, replacing the motors and blowers, replacing the chill water valve, pretty well gets the units that are local within the space, the zone units, taken care of. The chiller, we're going to go through that chiller, and there's a contingency fund in my proposal, I think of $15,000, that when we get in there, if we find some problems, that's going to allow us to do a little bit of repairs. Let me see here.
Because I know right now
it is $15,000.
they've kind of jerry-rigged it right
contingency.
now for it to, a loop system in there right now on that for it to come on.
Right, but that's in the control system. We identified that problem, I don't know, a month ago, something like that, and it was not repaired.
Right.
Put the part on.
Excuse me?
Your gentleman was out, put the part on about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, I don't know anything about that. I was told it was in the control system, that it was not interlocking the chiller with the...
Pressure switch between the pumps was bad, and I just paid you off bill for it.
Okay. The new control system is going to have full control of when the chiller runs, when the chiller doesn't run. It's also going to have control of when the boiler's running and when the boiler's not running. The chiller is, like I said, a 2006 version. There might be a few problems with it. We've got the labor plan to go through that chiller, identify problems. The contingency fund is money there to allow us to fix at least some of the problems. The boiler the same way. I've got a maintenance repair kit included in there to get that boiler up to where it's supposed to be. If we find some other problems, we've got the contingency fund. As far as some of those areas you were talking about, I think this makeup air, drawing the air out of the building that you've paid to condition, is a huge, huge factor in not being able to cool those rooms. What ends up happening is if you have an exhaust fan pulling air out of the building, it's going to replenish that air somewhere. So any outside doors, these areas you're talking about are the outside doors. So the air is just sucking in through those doors. If we get the makeup air unit running, we get a neutral pressure in the building, possibly even a positive pressure in the building. We should be able to achieve that without any problem, because we can reduce the exhaust air with this GPS. We can pressurize the building so when the doors open, it doesn't suck this cold air, 0-degree air in. It doesn't suck this 100-degree air in, and that's what's really going to help those areas. There's also a good chance that the chill water valves on those areas are not working. The chill water valves that are installed do not have they condense, because the actuator is built right on top of the valve. So when the valve gets cold, the actuator gets cold and condenses, and then it rusts. So bottom line, we're going to change all the chill water valves, get them chill water compliant. They should be reliable. They will also be able to modulate. So instead of having a on-off cooling function, it modulates to maintain temperature in the space. We'll be upgrading the fans to a full-speed fan so you get airflow and get the air down to the ground and feel some air, as opposed to in the wintertime when you're referring to this. Those areas definitely have the sensor up in the return. So what happens there is the air is always warmer at the ceiling. So this sensor is saying, hey, I'm good. I'm 70 degrees while it's 60 degrees down here on the floor, or 50 degrees down here on the floor. So it's not just really one thing with the system. It's everything that is together. I have given 6 different references on buildings that I've done this very thing to. And I'd love for you to call some of these references and talk to them. I tried to keep them even government entities. I've got other references if you wanted them, but we've done exactly what we're talking about here. It's what I do. Go to buildings that don't work, figure out why they don't work, and make it work. I think these references would give you a lot of information. So there's a lot of money to be saved by the county here, and I think a few phone calls might be a great thing if you got the opportunity to do it.
Did your bid include the electrical upgrades then to the room? Did you say there was electrical problems in the room? Does that include the upgrade then?
No, I think they installed a electrical conditioner on the chiller. When we put this chiller in 2006, it was very, very problematic because there was poor electrical coming in the area. It would get brownout conditions or something, spikes, and it would lock out. So they installed a conditioner. As far as I knew, that fixed that problem. My comments were that needs to be thought about if we're going to put equipment in that has even more electronics to them, because if it's not all going through that conditioner, it could very well be very problematic. But I think the chiller is currently running on a conditioner that Meyer Electric installed.
So it's sufficient.
It should be sufficient for that chiller. That was what it was installed for in maybe 2007.
About 2008 or 9, and it did stop. It did prevent the boards from burning up whenever we had spikes or electrical outside and stuff of that nature, because for some reason it just kept pulling the motherboards.
Yeah, it
so
fed
that
back
stopped.
through.
That stopped.
And keep in mind, this has got just a few boards. The VRF's going to have a lot of boards. So if we don't have adequate conditioning, it could be a real problematic situation. It was my concern. So.
Greg, you want to come up here too? Because I think what it comes down to is Greg looked at both options. And your recommendation was the new system. We've been putting Band-Aids on that old system for a long time. So that's where we're at on the pros for replacing it.
I spent 3 to 4 weeks going through with Dave and Norm here, who helped me put the proposal together. We looked at somewhat of Randy's idea. From my knowledge and my recollection, looking back, there's been no closed loop treatment put in those system up there. The barrels that are down there say antifreeze on them, not glycol. What has that done to the system? I got pumps that the seals are leaking already that were just repaired 3 years ago. I was down there yesterday fixing the problem. I think we're getting ready to lose another pump because we're losing pressure. That's why it keeps tripping out on each stop. Just dropped the pressure down on that new controller we put in, and it brought it back on. You're saying you're putting individual thermostats in the rooms. How can you do that when you got air handlers up in the attic feeding 3 and 4 rooms? How are you going to do that? You going to put valves up or dampers on that? There's a lot of things that I looked at in your proposal that I don't think will work for that building.
Like what? Right now, the thermostats that control the fan coil
Correct.
are located in the return air duct.
Correct. And
So-
those
so-
units, at one unit, feeds 3 rooms. How are you going to put individual
I
stacks?
understand that, but it's not going to be 3 thermostats, it's going to be 1 thermostat. And when I looked at the drawings, the 3 rooms, there was only a few of them that had 3, but the ones that had like 3 rooms, they had like exposure. So they were all on a south wall, so they all get the same outside exposure. Each room should have the same load requirement at that given time. So if you put 1 thermostat in the middle of the room, it should take care of the problem.
But I've got one room that's got 1 individual, and I've got one room that's got 4 individuals. So, you know, the heat loads are not the same in every one of those rooms.
The
The
heat
cooling
load
load-
is the comfort requirement by the people might be different, but the
Right.
heat load is going to be the same in that room.
Load calculations for the areas that Michael referred to, the walk-in room, or as you come in the front entryway, back where the kids live, we did a load calculation and we're roughly 16 ton off. How are you gonna make up 16 ton without adding another fan coil unit?
I'm not convinced that is accurate.
We ran a full load on the building and.
Come on up and
Yeah.
let's.
So, my name is Norman Ray. I'm with Raleigh Johnson. I'm a mechanical engineer. And so we ran a complete HVAC load on the building. And some of the concerns, some of the areas of concern and some of the areas that weren't necessarily a concern came up short on load. And the big areas are that waiting area, the recreation area, the living areas. Where they maybe have 2.5 tons of cooling, we're proposing installing up to 6 tons of cooling in those areas because of the sun, the solar load, and everything on the building. We utilized
Doesn't that entry face north?
Entry
the
face
entry
north.
faces north, the other side faces south.
So the entry doesn't get any solar gain.
No.
Not necessarily, no, but it's still a lot of glass. I mean, glass does not have near the U value that a wall would with insulation in it. So we took all that into account. We got all the architectural drawings with the elevations and everything. Used that all for our load, the correct wall makeup with all the correct insulation properties, and ran our load. And there were the
What
areas
did you have for the entry? Because I was thinking it had 12 tons, 2 6 tons currently.
No, it doesn't have near that. It's two.
I should have brought my plans.
There you go. It's two 22,000 BTU fan coils, I think, or maybe 30,000 BTU fan coils, and we're going to be putting.
Yes, fan coil 1A and 1B, which is 650 CFM each, less than 2 tons.
21,000
About,
BTU. So less than 4 tons, and I'm going to be putting. We're going to be putting almost double that into that area because of those glass loads. And the other part of that is wintertime. Obviously, the fan coils that we're providing with the VRF system have the both, you know, the larger heating capabilities and the larger cooling capabilities.
I mean, there's not very much exposure on that area.
But it's a lot of glass with the very low U values. So even though you don't have the solar gain maybe on that north side, you still have a U value that is very small.
That glass wall starts right here.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of glass, and we did a very detailed input analysis with the architectural drawing showed all those glass panels, you know, individually on a elevation. So.
Well, my determination was the fact that we were sucking so much air in through there when the makeup air was.
Yeah, and so as part of our
was not
proposal,
running.
we're also replacing that unit, and actually as part of our proposal, we're actually adding a cooling coil to that unit, so that the kitchen area is not 100 degrees. When it's 100 degrees outside, all that makeup air you're bringing in right now with your existing unit is unconditioned. So if it's 95 degrees outside, that's what you're putting in that kitchen. And so with our proposal, we've added a cooling coil to that unit to temper the air, so that when the air comes in from the outdoors, we temper that area. And along with that, we also are using the VRF system to condition that kitchen also.
Well, I'm certainly not saying that refurbishing is a better system than their system. It doesn't have anything to do with that. But if there is a dollar savings, if the county wanted to do something for a lesser cost, you have that option. It's absolutely not replacing all the equipment. I don't want to tout it to that. It's taking a 20-year-old system and trying to fix all the deficiencies, which it had a lot of deficiencies from day one that it didn't have a chance. The system did not have a chance to work. No matter what you did to it, until you get to the root of why it was designed wrong, you're not going to get anywhere. So I'm just basically offering a money savings option if you choose to go for it.
I think that's what, when we were talking, I said, come up here, present it. I don't think we could accept your all's bid as an alternative. I don't think that's the way we bid it, is it, Jen? I mean, we didn't give everybody else an opportunity to bid it that way.
I mean,
So we'd have to basically rebid it
kind of
No,
the way I
if we
look
were
at
gonna do it.
Yeah, I think you would.
But
I disagree with that. I've got a addendum that was put out because I basically wasn't going to bid the project. It came in through our office, and I said, well, I don't think I'm interested in it, but if they wanted to refurbish it, I might be. So we wrote a letter, and the letter basically said, are you interested in other options? There's an addendum that was put out that states that you
Yeah,
would
I think I got
accept
that.
and entertain alternates. And that's what we bid upon. The top of my letter basically says exactly
Yeah,
that.
I've seen-
I got the
that.
bid tabs here.
Yeah.
So, bottom line, if you choose to go with something less, I think you've got the vehicle to do it in. If you choose to go the other direction, that's great too.
So what's a
But,
boiler cost if that's at its end of life?
I would recommend going with 2 boilers, so we don't have, in case one were to go down, you're looking probably $50K install and do it right.
And then what about pumps? I mean,
Pumps
they're
are
about
looking
at the end
at
of their
probably
life
another
too.
6 to 7, somewhere in there. Depending on, I don't know what size they are, but that's a rough guess.
I mean, that's some of the stuff you were looking at whenever you were weighing the options.
Yes.
So that's why I'm throwing them out there.
One of the other deficiencies that you brought up the plasma generators to reduce outdoor air requirements. Currently, is there outdoor air being brought into the building per code?
Right now, yes, there is 2 exhaust fans and 2 makeup air fans that
Did
bring
they
air.
serve air to all the rooms?
Every room. I say every room. I think there was a few that did not. I wish I would have brought my plans because I had everything marked. actually go back to the schedule, and I'll show you on the schedule real quick. Got 2 supply fans, 2 exhaust fans, and then of course there's an exhaust fan for the kitchen, and then there's a makeup for the kitchen.
E1 and E2 are for bathrooms, if I remember right. That's for the kitchen. FS1, I believe, is,
We can look at it. I'll show you it. The plans weren't very great, but
that's the kitchen makeup HUD.
that's the kitchen makeup. There's a supply fan.
Well, if it shows it better on the next sheet. With the,
That's Paul piping.
The supply fan is piped around and goes to the fan coil units.
Here's the bathrooms. I don't remember.
So, I guess where I was going with that is the system being proposed. I guess just in general, one of the biggest proponents to mold and moisture problems in ductwork and in facilities is bringing in unconditioned outdoor air. And I just, as an engineer, do not do that anymore. We condition the air before we deliver it to the rooms. I believe if there is outdoor going to this systems, it's raw air being delivered
That's
directly to the fan coils.
That is correct.
Yeah. Plasma generators maybe can kill that mold, but it'll still be there. It'll still be in the ductwork.
If it kills it, it's gone.
No, it kills it. It's still there. It's still harmful. But the our system, what we're providing is a neutral air unit. It is a unit that brings in the outdoor air. It conditions the outdoor air. It subcools to dehumidify it, brings it back up to neutral, and then delivers it out to the rooms directly or to the fan coils to be further conditioned. So when we're providing the air into the space, and just in general, when we're designing schools or any building, that you want that dehumidified air being brought into the building, not necessarily raw air being brought into the building. So that's one of the benefits of upgrading the system.
There is no doubt that is a better way of going, but it comes at an expense. So and currently, to rehabilitate what they got, the best answer I had was to put the plasma generators on. It's being very common in a lot of schools, and they've been very successful with killing the mold. So that's why I tried to choose that for dollar savings. So
the other thing about the reason VRF systems are being widely used these days is because of their efficiency. They've been used in Europe and in Asia for a lot longer than they have in the United States, and the reason is their energy prices over there are so much higher than ours. We kind of did a short energy analysis on a similar building type with a system versus an ASHRAE baseline system, which the ASHRAE baseline system for this building would be a kind of a package rooftop unit with hot water reheat. When we compared that system versus our system on a similar size building, similar use, we're about 37% more efficient than that standard type system versus ASHRAE. We have no doubt that we will save you guys energy, cost over the, in the future. So that's one of the benefits there. Obviously, it's a brand new system. 99% of the zones, the rooms, will have their own thermostat. Other than the same thing he mentioned is obviously in the holding rooms, we won't have individual zones there, but everybody will have their own control, so that not only can we take care of the different heat and cooling loads that are needed, but also just the personal preference. So those are just kind of the, obviously there is a cost difference, and that's we're not here to sell it too hard, but we do think that the newer system is the better way to go for the client.
Well, I like thinking outside the box, though, Randy. I appreciate that. That's.
Like I said, I've got a good relationship with Butzer, and there's nothing against their proposal. It doesn't make sense. And like I said, their service techs are probably one of the top rated in town, and I don't have a problem with it. It's just a proposal that I looked at all these rooms and blueprints, talking with his people, talking with everybody else, looking back, finding some records about how much we've spent on that building over the years for it still not to work right. And like Jeff alluded to the other day, how many Band-Aids we have put on this building. It's time to fix it and do it right.
But we awarded the contract to Air Systems, but then we had you come back in. Do you have any discussions?
I just want to let them make their argument for it. I understand where y'all are coming from, Randy. There is a big price difference, but I don't think you're talking about equivalent systems.
No, you're not.
So that's kind of what we have to weigh, and we got to decide which bullet we're going to bite. I mean, sometimes it's like just take a mess, and you just got to hold your nose and take it. And you know, we saw the price tag on doing a complete different system, and it was a hard one to swallow. But I think that's kind of the way Greg recommended, and that's kind of the way I felt we needed to go. But I wanted to. I mean, you wanted to come and talk to us about it, give you your fair shake on it.
No, and I do like the idea of thinking outside the box. That's
sounds good.
So I got a question. So it's easy to say that we put a thermostat in every room and we control the air to every room, but how do we do that if we don't have a fan coil unit or something for each room?
This way we will.
Okay, you will have a unit for every room.
We do.
Okay. So it's a little bit different than what Butzer is proposing there.
I just want to make sure that when we're talking about the units in every room, there's going to be certain rooms, just like the cells. We're not going to have it in there.
No.
But also in the client rooms, we don't want it in there either.
Yeah,
because
there's provisions that we can do, different types of sensors with remote.
Yeah, I just want to make sure whatever we do that you're at least working with me and my staff, because of the population that we have. There's certain things we don't want available for the kids to.
We're going to utilize this time between now and maybe the end of July to get those design documents, for you guys to review and comment on and work with you guys.
Okay.
So that we're nowhere near fully designed at this point. We have, we were able to put the proposal together.
Okay.
So you talked about pulling fresh air from the conditioned space. I mean, do you have some way to reduce the carbon dioxide or whatever that's in that space, or maybe I'm not saying it correctly?
When we're conditioning air, we're pulling air from outside and serving that to all the spaces. So we're conditioning, so there's a separate air handling unit
that conditions it before it comes into the system.
That's before it goes to all the spaces. So, and what that does is, normally your fan coil units in individual rooms, they're doing the sensible heating and cooling and trying to control space temperature. When you add the fact that they have to now bring in outdoor air and control space temperature and condition outdoor air, you're asking it to do too much sometimes. So if you're bringing, say it's 65 and raining outside, if you're bringing that air into the fan coil unit at the room without doing anything to it, what happens is the space, maybe it's up on your wall thermostat is set, it's at 72, but you've got this wet air coming in, and your coil's not doing anything because it's satisfied. That's why the standard in the industry anymore is to condition that outdoor air with a separate piece of equipment before it gets to that space zone. That way, all the unit at the space is doing is making it hotter or colder. It doesn't have to worry about necessarily dehumidifying or heating or cooling the outdoor air.
Is there And we're talking about putting all these in the attic space, and of course.
Most of them, so similarly to the ducted ones, the ducted fan coils units that could be in the same spot as the fan coils are now, but the normal standard ceiling cassette VRF unit actually is not much larger than maybe a standard grill. It'll go in the ceiling, and since it's not bringing outdoor air or anything, and it's got its own coil in it, and it's got a fan in it, and it's just recirculating the air in the room, either heating or cooling that air.
So it's in a conditioned
So
space.
those will be sitting
Yeah.
inside the room, inside the ceiling for the majority of them.
I mean, I think you guys, talking to you, Randy, I think you guys brought a good proposal. I mean, you know, some of my concerns is how long is this boiler going to last? You know, are we going to have to do a maintenance kit on it over and over and
Well,
over?
every 5 years. That is the disadvantage to that boiler. It is not a maintenance-free boiler. We've had good luck with that boiler, not that exact boiler, but other boilers that are the same boiler in other facilities. After we put the maintenance kit on it, got it up, it works well, but every 5 years you got to put that 5-year maintenance kit on.
What's the lifespan of it?
I've probably got about 3 of them out there, and I've not had one fail, but I don't know.
Okay.
I would expect you could get another 10 years out of it easy enough, but I don't know. Maybe 20. Maybe you're at half-life. I don't know. But even if you have to change the boiler, that can still be done at any time. And I think he had a good number at about 50 grand to replace those boilers. You might get by a little cheaper. You might spend a little bit more depending on what you decide to do. I liked his 2-boiler idea. 2 smaller boilers. You've always got one, hopefully, that's working. So I think that's a great plan. So
So in the current system, I would assume that for the majority of the year, you got a boiler and a chiller running. I mean, that just doesn't seem that productive that, you know, if somebody's too cold, the boiler's running so they get heat. If somebody's too hot, the chiller's running so that they're getting conditioned air. I mean,
it's not as efficient as the VRV system. There's no doubt about it. It is a fairly efficient system in that just because you say the chiller's running or the cooling is available, the chiller makes stores a cell of cold water, and then it shuts off and just circulates that around the building for use to any one of the 25 zones. You got 25 zones in that building, so you got 25 thermostats. It's not like you've got a big area being done by one thermostat. There are going to be times of the year that you're running heating and cooling simultaneously. But once it gets up to, say, 75 degrees, you can probably lock the boiler out. When it gets down to, say, 30 degrees, you can probably lock the chiller out, maybe even more. You might be able to lock the chiller out at 35 degrees or 40 degrees. I don't know. It depends on the building. It doesn't look to me to be a load-intensive building. I guess if you get a bunch of people in that assembly room all at one time, you might need a little bit of cooling when it's colder. But it's not like you're running it all the time.
mm-hmm.
A lot of the time you would be, though.
So on your list of references here, were all the bids that you turned in on these projects, were they alternates or were these design build or?
They were all design builds, not necessarily all alternates.
I don't have any more questions, I don't think.
I don't have any more either.
Okay.
So,
Appreciate it.
Randy, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
yep,
Take
thanks,
care.
Randy.
Well, we had awarded the contract to Air Systems.
Still your recommendation then, Greg?
Yes, my recommendation is we still change the whole fleet system, put everything new in, get rid of all the other equipment. Like I said, you know, Mustard has done wonderful service work for us over the years. And I just don't want any hardship for you guys, so I'd like to still keep using you.
No, there's no hardship. I just wanted to give you another opportunity to look at the system in a different way.
Yeah.
Thank
we
you,
were
thank you
talking
very
about-
much. That's, yeah, that's great.
My recommendation, we still go with the original proposal.
We got the contract.
It's in front of Sam.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go with it then. Got any more questions or conversation, discussion? Or are you gonna kick it around?
Um, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a significant cost savings. I mean, it's definitely something that it's worth. And I've looked through the proposal pretty in depth. You know, Jen, what did we spec on the control system? I mean,
It was the LG control system is what we spec'd out.
and I know there's various type of control systems out there, and anyway, so. Yeah, I mean, I think at some point, you know, you just have to kind of scrap what's there, and I think anybody, you know, that's got an old system, you know, at some point it's got to be replaced, and you know, you look at all kinds of different systems that are out there, and try to go with what's best and most energy efficient. So I'm with moving forward with air systems. So
Go with the VRF system.
yeah.
Make that a motion?
So I move that we sign the contract with Air Systems for the VRF system at Printer.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Signing of adult head injury contract.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you, Randy.
Appreciate the input on it.
Good morning. This is a contract that we have, it still is, with Department of Health and Senior Services that funds our adult brain injury coordinator. She actually services 18 counties out of Cole County. I think there's only 5 or 6, maybe 8 counties in the state that have this contract that provides a case manager for people who have suffered a traumatic brain injury. So I'm just asking for our annual renewal, and Jill has reviewed the contract.
So just a little background for me, please. I mean, so we hire this person and they go out to other health departments all over.
They don't go to health departments. They service 18 counties, and they actually go to people's homes and meet them and help them. It's Shallon Schoenhardt, and she will help them make sure they're controlling their medication, make sure they're getting the services they needed. Whatever they need, she'll help them find housing. She'll help them find a job. She will help them with their insurance, basically be a case manager for whatever they need because of this traumatic brain injury that they suffered. And they have to, there's certain requirements they have to meet to be able to be accepted into the program through DHSS, and she works directly with them. So.
And so is her position funded by DHSS then?
Well, through this contract, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally, and her expenses.
Right.
Basically, all we're providing for her is a space and her computer.
And so how many of these people similar to Shalon are out in Missouri? Is there
I'm not sure how many
several
they
others,
have.
I
Yeah,
assume?
there's several others. I know that in Springfield, they university down there had a contract, and they had like 3 there. And St. Louis County or Jefferson County has 2 because they lost one, and they actually paid for Shallon to go help them get.
She's
their
covering
files.
18 counties?
Her file.
Yeah, didn't you see her mileage report?
Yeah, so have you seen her mileage? It's huge. I wouldn't want to pay for the maintenance on her vehicle.
That's, yeah.
So she covers 18 counties out of Cole. There's probably 10 to 15 in the whole state that do what she does.
How many people does she approximately service?
Oh.
I mean, does she see them once a month? Does she see them
It
just
depends
as
on-
needed? Or?
Yeah, it depends on the person and what stage they are. But every year she has to do like an assessment with them to see where they are with the program, and if they still fit the requirements, if they can kind of graduate out of it or whatever.
So she sees them at a minimum yearly.
Right.
Okay.
But some of them, one guy was really high maintenance, and she was seeing him like once a week, he would get his checks and basically pay for a hotel, but never move into a stable, a stable housing thing. So it kind of depends on the person and how needy they are. When they first come into the program, she probably sees them more, but as they become more self-sufficient, which is the goal, she would see them less, but at a minimum yearly to do the assessment. And I don't know how many people.
I move we
she-
sign the adult head injury contract with DHSS.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry to cut you off, Chris.
That's okay. I'm so happy to have Shalom back.
I
Yeah.
am being nice. Trying. I apologize.
We got Alden? Or do we have more? Okay. I think Alden's next, isn't he?
Yeah.
Still awake over there?
That was fascinating.
Learned a lot about HVAC, right?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Alden Henriksen.
Have a seat and,
Down here.
yes, please.
Good morning. I'm Alden Henriksen. I'm the new executive director for the Rape and Abuse Crisis Service here in Jefferson City. And I'm here to seek your approval to change the fee from $2 to $4 on court fees. And these are fees then would go to our shelter. Last year, not this just finished session, but the session before that, the legislature passed a law and it was signed into law that allowed you to consider changing the fee from $2 up to $4. I did a little bit of research with the help of your staff, trying to figure out how much more money that would be. Basically, there's a little over $5,000 now we get through these fees, and even though it's not an exact doubling, because it depends, I guess, on certain situations, the fees are scaled, but it would be badly needed for us to have this additional money because we operate on a shoestring budget. Basically, every dollar that we bring in covers our budget, and actually not quite because we've been cutting to reserve some, and I'm looking into ways to try to reduce that situation. So I'm here for any question you may have about the shelter or our revenue structure or budget structure, whatever I can answer for you.
So what, I guess, what are those fees assessed? I mean, which court cases? Is there certain ones? Is it just everything that goes through the Cole County court system, or do you know?
I can't actually say. I do have a breakdown of the type of fee. There are domestic violence circuit civil. There's domestic violence criminal county, and there's some domestic violence municipality. So that's all I know. I don't know exactly how they assess that.
And I think Donnell's talked a little bit with Jill about this too, but it's.
Do you know? I mean,
I'd have to look at the statute to
Okay.
see which particular cases, but I know Donnell brought this up to me last year, because the legislation was passed, and about increasing it from $2 to $4.
I just didn't know if those fees were assessed on cases that were related to rape and abuse, or if they were just kind of attached to every little case that went through our court system.
It's just criminal cases.
Just criminal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, if it's a civil case or whatever, they don't have to pay this fee or.
And this includes municipal criminal ordinance violations too.
So that'd be city.
Yeah, speeding tickets, yeah.
So what, if you got a speeding ticket, you'd be paying a $4 fee?
You're already paying two, so.
Yeah.
Or it could be just the ones where, like, C&I and all that business, that might be. Anyway, city ordinance violation.
Yeah, I have the actual wording of the section here if you want me to read it.
That's what that is.
Okay.
That's what that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we have that email? Is that for all of us, or that's your?
It's just sent to.
Here,
Okay.
here.
Yeah, 'cause I hadn't seen it yet.
yeah.
I was trying to remember.
They also have a good cookbook too that they do all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff to raise money. It's
Yes, we do.
Yes.
It's kind of a patched together revenue stream that we have to do. We get about 75% of our money between government grants and government fees in the United Way, and the rest of it's through foundation money or general donations. We're having a barbecue, that kind of thing.
how much does United Way give you?
The United Way this year it's $104,000, which is great. Next year it's going to be $111,000. They upped it some for us, which is wonderful. And they're also giving us some one-time money. We've got some improvements we need to make on our playground. That came through in a compliance insurance audit, and so they've given us some money for that now too. So, but still, even with all this, some of the monies that we get, we can't seek again the next year. For example, we got a one-time grant with Mary Kay, but then for $20,000. But then their rules are you can't ask for it the next year. You have to wait another time. But we only got it one time. We're constantly seeking new funding sources. That's part of what I'm going to be doing is looking at other grant opportunities. There was somebody here from the Department of Health. We used to get foundation money through them. The criteria changes all the time. So something like this would be consistent money, so we really could use it.
It really isn't any cost to us.
Yeah, there's no cost to us.
Yeah.
It's just whether we want to pass along the cost to people paying court fines.
Exactly.
I don't. $4 is
You're going
not.
to charge me $2 more for a speeding ticket. You're going to tax me more money for this.
You don't speed, do you?
If I got a speeding ticket, I'm going to be charged $2 more. I don't know. This was the first I've really heard of this, so I'm weighing it. My first inclination is no. No offense against Rax at all. I mean, y'all can use the money, I'm sure, but everybody can use the money. So that's where I'm at right now.
Well, and I've even thought that, maybe we should add court fees to repair the courthouse. So, at what point do you, and of course a lot of people that have made a bad decision, now they got to pay for it, and now you're going to make them pay even a little more for it, and yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but then if they sit over in a jail forever because they can't pay their court
For
fees.
$2?
No, they don't do that.
Well, but
The jail is bonded. You're either bonded out or not. They don't.
Well, but
We don't
it
have
all
to
leads
advertise
into
it.
that circle of, hey, I got in trouble, I messed up, now I got to pay these fees, I can't pay the fees, now I do something else, and now I'm ending up in jail over
Or at the liquor store.
yeah, something, whatever. So it's a vicious circle. So I don't know. I'd like to think about it a little bit. So, but I know you can use the funds. I mean, everybody can use the funds, and so I'm just not real sure. So anyway,
Do we want to table it till next meeting?
that's fine.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, think about it some
Okay.
more.
Okay.
Yeah, just get,
When,
get
is
it
there
back.
a date that you have to raise it if we're gonna raise it, or we can do it at any time? Okay.
Anytime.
I'd like to chew on it a little bit.
I mean, you could have done it a year ago.
Okay. So you want to
I
give
think-
it
I
a
think
week
it was
or 2
Yeah.
weeks?
January
Let's get it
1st.
back on the agenda at some point.
Yeah,
so we
let's-
can-
why don't
I
we
believe it
make a
was
decision.
effective January 1st that you could start considering it. That's
You want-
my understanding. I'm new to all this too, so.
We can table it till next week.
Like I said, I just wanted you to know that was an option for you.
Okay.
I understand you have a lot of things you have to consider, but I
Sure.
appreciate the time.
I'd
Okay.
rather have somebody that gets accused of domestic violence and is found guilty and has court costs just add $20 of theirs, and
Yeah.
instead of doing $2 to somebody that got a speeding ticket and I got to pay for this and this and this. So.
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
good
appreciate
to
you
table
coming
it
in.
then.
Okay, thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Alden.
Okay.
Missouri Department of Natural Resources, we're gonna table this too, because the letter we got, they were trying to run this through at a meeting in Joplin in the middle of May, and by the time we got it, they had already pulled it from their, the agenda. So we're waiting to get a new letter from Department of Natural Resources actually asking them what they want from us.
Or it may be moved.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't realize that the county, on this MSP, and that we are an entity that's part of that. So we're waiting to hear from Tony Pearl on what they want from us.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more before we kind of go forward with this, because I know we've had issues with the old jail being on the National Historic Registry, and I don't want to
Actually,
move
what
this
this is
forward and
about for
stuff.
us, we're not deciding whether it goes in or not. It's simply, there's a comment period
Mhm.
before they vote for that, and they're supposed to give notice before the comment period. Well, they didn't give us notice, so we didn't have the mandatory 30 to 75 day comment period. So ours simply, what they're asking us is, will you waive the comment period notice? So.
Oh, really?
And that's it.
Yeah, they sent me an email,
Yeah.
like, they sent me an email like 3 days before, and then Tony
Right.
called me the day before. And then the letter we actually got was after the date that they were gonna do it, but Tony had said that they had withdrawn their request, or, for the time being, so we're kind of waiting to see
So
what.
the way I read that is that any partner that's in, and it's not in this document, but so as the county and the city and every municipality, if they object to that, then they have to give notice.
What you do is during the comment period,
Mhm.
you send in your objection and your basis for that.
Right. Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that, MSP could be a great asset, but at the same time, we haven't gotten any assistance from our governor. And so, but before I'm going to say, okay, let's make this on the National Historic Registry, I want to make sure that doesn't lock us into not being able to do certain things over there. And so I don't know, if they're going to designate a building. I mean, I'm probably good with that, as long as it's no cost to the county or the state of Missouri. But if they're going to designate the whole site, I probably have a problem with that.
I don't think it really does anything besides recognition. It's just
Unless you have federal funds.
Now, yeah, if you use,
For instance, if the feds were gonna give us $500,000 to tear down the old jail, then that would have been an issue. But
Mm-hmm.
such as it is now, that no federal funds are being used for that, and any that we've had before have been limited to the courthouse itself.
if we would have used federal funds to replace a window in the old jail or the old
Right.
sheriff's house, we probably wouldn't be able to touch it. But we didn't. So, yeah, it's a historic site, but Okay, it served its time. So,
Anyway, Chris, that would be something you would submit to that committee
Mhm.
as one of your comments.
Sure. Okay. So they'll be giving us notice, I guess, at some point.
She has not called me back.
Okay.
So when she does, I will tell her that we have at least one commissioner who wants to submit comments.
Mhm.
And how do we do that?
Okay. Great, thank you.
Any other issues to come before the commission? Mr. Larry?
no, oh, wait.
Oh,
Yeah, what about
Oh.
the library appointments?
Oh.
I'm gonna go to some old business. We've got the,
I think Larry wanted to do the passports.
Oh, did he?
oh, yeah? Collector
We-
wants to do the passports? Okay, we'll put that on next agenda, then we'll talk about it.
well, yeah, I offered him,
What just happened?
and I found out
The clerk's in charge of voting, and those people.
Well, he nominated you.
Perfect.
I found out he's on the Housing Authority Board too, so I offered him Wren's Lake. I said, you could make that kind of a summer spot for all of your residents and your Housing Authority units. They can go over there and lay on the beach. Alan Pollock thought,
And what did I tell you?
well, Alan thought that was,
What did I tell you?
You can't say that.
If you can get Judge Joyce to put porta potties in the courthouse, then I'll take Ren's Lake.
Oh, God.
She didn't
Let's
have
go
a choice.
back to the Missouri
Hey,
River Regional
we can
Library.
vote on putting porta potties over there right now.
We've got two people that have been brought to us, Stu Murphy and Kay Kasisk. Is it Kasisk? Kasiski? How do you say her last name?
Kasiski.
Okay, well, Claudia at the library, she's a director. She's recommended these two people. I'm fine with it. Chris, you've looked over them?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to appoint Stu Murphy and Kay Kasiski.
No.
Okay.
Probably butchering her name.
To the library board.
To the library board, yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Since Sam brought up Wren's Lake, have we gotten anywhere there? Are we ready to bring that back on the agenda to sell those properties? Or I was kind of asking Jeff. I know he reached out to some people there.
Depends on how we want to do the lake thing. If we're going to sell it on the courthouse steps, there's certain things that I'd like to see on it. Restrictive use.
So a conditional sale.
Yeah, and I'd like to find out if we can give them the opportunity of the home association. I don't know if we can do that, but I want to at least give them opportunity to come up to the courthouse steps too. I know there's interest in it. I don't know, it's just a crappy situation. But before we do, I just want to let them know I don't want to do it tomorrow. I mean, obviously we're going to have to advertise it in the newspaper probably
Right.
4 or 5 weeks ahead of time.
Who's gonna auction it?
I'll do it.
There you go. Jeff Helsher.
I don't know if I can auction it.
I think you can.
Have Bill Grass give you
So
lessons.
can we get it back on the agenda
We
for a
can put it
couple
on-
weeks or
yeah,
next
that's fine.
week? Or
And I'll let them know we're going to talk about it. And
Larry has collector's sales. Who does those? You?
Yes.
So you want 2 weeks or you want a week? Doesn't matter.
we can talk about all the other properties, and
Okay.
we can work on them other ones. But let me get hold of them about Wren's. I mean, there's questions as to what they can and can't do with Wren's as well now, since we breached it back then.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it back on for 2 weeks, and then I'd like to talk about them all together. So, if I can persuade Sam, we may outvote you, but anyway.
Give it to Housing Authority?
I don't want to give it to anybody, but I'll sell
Well,
it.
sell it for $1.
If the housing authority wants it, they can sure buy it.
And you don't even need a passport to go visit them.
Well, I don't know if there's any way that we can sell it, even if the home association comes up and says, look, we want to buy it and do something ourselves with it. I think we probably have to put it out there on the steps.
You know, the statute is not specific. You have the ability to sell county property. And so the only consideration then would be, are you acting in the best interest of the county? Because you do have a fiduciary duty. Now, you could weigh, in this particular situation, there is also a public benefit to, I don't know. I mean, Jeff, I know you feel bad about what happened out there. So that,
So there is probably maybe an opportunity to say that, we.
kind of weigh what is in the best interest of the county.
So rather than auctioning it off at the courthouse steps, we could offer the property up for sale by sealed proposal.
That would, I don't know if that would be, you could do that for all of them,
Right.
sealed bids.
Well, but it'd be a proposal, and so their proposal could say,
This is our plan. for
yes,
it.
yeah.
Well, and okay, whoever buys it, if you buy that lake and you say, well, I want to put storage sheds or apartments or houses on there. Somewhere along the line, there were easement rights to certain people out there to a lake. There's no longer a lake there, so are the easement rights gone?
It says access, and that was with Mrs. Rand.
Ren,
So it's questionable if that even ran with the new owner.
I would say that it would run with the property.
You might think, yeah, but,
So,
well, if I'm trying to think back, Jeff. It was, yes, access to a lake, but that did not constitute the guarantee of a lake. Do you remember
I
that
know.
now?
yeah.
So,
At any rate, I think we need to be careful because we're still in litigation.
Sure. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I truly don't have a problem with that. I mean, it seems like those people they're,
It's their neighborhood.
yes, and so they have more to gain, and I would be more apt to sell that property back to them, and so that's, I guess, where I'm at is I'd like to see what the proposal from different people with a number, and no different than just a proposal that we would get as a bid or something.
Well, let me get with them first again and tell them we're going to put this on the agenda in 2 weeks.
And see if they'll
If they have
come.
something they want to work on, and it's going to take them a couple of months to get something actually together, we can wait on that one and proceed with the other ones if we want.
Because I see what you're getting at, and I sure wouldn't want to see storage units put in behind those homes either. I mean, I don't.
Now, that would lower the value of those homes
Right.
considerably.
Okay.
And I mean, there's no way to say if anybody buys it and with no zoning, I mean, you could pretty much put whatever you want in there. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
There's a blue line that runs through there now, so that's why there's questions about whether what they can put there in a lake again.
well, it's a stream, but somebody could build right over the top of it and let the stream run right underneath the building too. So, I don't know that the Corps would let that, but if you had the money to do it, you could do it, I guess.
Larry Benz is up on all of that.
Yeah. So, watch the stream go right underneath your house or whatever, commercial building.
Any other issues?
I've never been here for this part of the meeting. I usually leave pretty much at the beginning. Can we kind of bring up anything at this point? I'm looking for direction. So a while back, if you remember, we talked about revamping the county website. I've gotten some rough numbers back on that after talking to Civic Plus. Basically, they're wanting to do kind of a demo for us. Do you guys want to be included in that, kind of is my question. Statutorily, we're covered if we would go with them. They are on the GSA contract. I understand we might want to get other pricing. I'm just kind of looking for direction, something like that. I mean, you could get something if you put it out for bid, like what we have now, They're sort of the industry standard from what we're seeing. Just they've done, I think, over 10,000 entities. Just kind of looking for some direction. Is this something that you guys would want to put out to bid first? Is this something that you would entertain sort of a demo from them? And then
What is
kind
their
of,
cost?
It is $39,000 for year one, and then $58.60 for every year thereafter, and includes a redesign after year 4.
58 to 60 for every year after.
5,800. I think it's, well, I have it right in front of me.
That's their,
5,850 a year. They do the hosting.
that's their hosting cost. What do we pay for hosting now?
Not much.
Nothing.
I think it's here, isn't it? I don't know. That would be a Dale question, but
I think several of us, I mean, some of my stuff is hosted off-site.
and that cost includes bringing, like, if someone would have an outside site at their option. I mean, but basically bringing their site and giving it the same look and feel, linking it off of the main site. So you'd clearly be in the Cole County website, no matter which elected official or department you clicked on. That's kind of the rough numbers. There's just several options, and I'm not really sure how you would want to proceed.
I wouldn't mind looking at a demo just to be involved, just to see what we're going to get for that amount of money. I mean, I think it would be beneficial to bring all the departments and all the elected officials in on the same site and all be hosted under one, rather than all these redirects.
Well, and it's really kind of tied with the economic development too. You know, that's kind of all really tied together, because that's the first thing that they're going to go, any business is going to go and look at. And all the examples, I'm working on that now, and then all the examples, a lot of them have that kind of tied in with it. So it's sort of part of that too. I mean,
So I guess I'm a little lost. Economic development as far as just
A lot of the
growing our
examples-
county and city
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, that's the face of Cole County is what you see, and that face now needs some makeup or something. I don't know.
Do they do all the writing and everything? I mean, all.
You would be able to do, the way that Civic Plus is, you would do the content. So you could go in and change whatever you wanted to, and that would go for all the departments or elected officials. Is that what you're asking, or?
Well, not exactly. I mean, I think there's a lot of information that needs to be put out there. If we give them a general idea, will they put that information together and develop that as part of their?
I believe so, and again, we're just so preliminary in all this, and that would be something, if we did a demo and included everyone, that, you know, would probably be seen at that time.
I mean, as far as I know, right now, there's no general information out there that somebody moves to Cole County that tells them they need to go to the assessor's office and fill out an assessment form.
All of that, we can put whatever we want on it. There's modules, like most other systems, and the one they did was the premium suite of modules. Anyway, these would kind of all be things I think would be brought up in a demo. I just didn't know if you guys would entertain that.
So is there a cost to them doing a demo?
No.
Where are they at?
Ohio, maybe?
I don't care. If they want to come do a demo, come do a demo. There's 14,000 different ways to do these things.
Is this something that they're going to call in
I don't
and
know.
probably do it over a
I haven't gotten that
computer?
far. I don't know if they'll do it remotely or if they'll do it in person. I just didn't know if that would be,
I'd say remotely be
yeah,
good at this
during
point. Yeah.
a commission meeting and just invite all the elected officials, or how would that need to be handled? I'm not sure.
that'd be best.
So they'll do economic development. So like you'll
They're
put like
just-
Russellville's engine show on it.
They
parish
brought up something
picnics.
about
I
doing
mean,
that.
different communities too,
They have
or
the option
is
to
it
do
all
that.
just count
Sort
the
of the big
government?
thing we talked about was the community calendar, to where everyone could put their unique stuff on it. We brought that up in the initial conversation. That's very doable.
We got like 6,000 community calendars in Gem City. We don't need another one. We just
Yeah.
need links to the CVB, to Chamber.
Well, whatever you think, they'll be able to show
Okay.
their cards what they can do at a demo if you're willing to entertain it.
It doesn't cost us anything. It's-
No.
If they can do it in 5 minutes or less.
Don't think that's probably going to be the case, but
I don't care. They can do a demo if that's
Yeah.
gonna help you to do the RFP for it.
It seems high, but I don't know what.
Well, that's the thing too, is it's GSA pricing. We don't necessarily have to do an RFP.
Well, then we don't have to do one. That's true. Never mind.
We can.
Brain fart.
It's just a starting off point to see if it's kind of meeting what you're interested in, see what kind of bang you're getting for your buck with them. Potentially you would be willing to entertain just going with them without putting it out for bid. Maybe you wouldn't, but it's a starting point. So I guess I just wanted to see.
I actually think that price is not high.
Really? Okay.
Depending on what they're,
Yeah.
what they offer.
Assume it's a mobile-friendly site, or
Yes.
And we can change content.
Yes. Content management for you.
I think this is a place to start. I mean, whether we go this route or we don't go this route, I mean, I think that's something that we got to look at.
That was my thought. I just wanted to throw it out there, let it marinate, whatever it needs to do, and then we can come back and do the demo.
Okay.
So should I just get that on the next agenda whenever they're available? Okay.
Okay by me.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Steve?
No, the guy sitting next to me, like, his briefcase here, if anybody knows him, I don't know who it was.
Jason Thompson.
Oh, Jason's.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a book
Mhm.
back here, so.
Anything else?
Can I ask a question about, you brought up Shallon's mileage, you know, she travels to 18 counties. How do you guys feel about her using a county vehicle? Because we could still build a grant for the expenses, but not have her. But I guess the thinking was before that she couldn't use a county vehicle because she traveled to 18 counties.
Are they gonna reimburse us the mileage? Either way, they're either gonna pay it to her or they're gonna pay it to us.
We would still be able to bill them mileage, yes.
What would she rather do?
I don't know. I mean, she said something before about having a county vehicle, but I think before it was just off the table. It was never an option. But, you know, it's $1,000 a month typically that we're paying her.
So this would be purchasing another vehicle.
Or, I mean, we could try having her use one that we have now. I mean, then we would not have a pool vehicle at the office, so that might impact other people's mileage. But anyway, it was just something to think about. We could try it for a little bit and see, you know, what happened.
I'd be open to looking at it. I mean, you know,
Don't find out how fast you get reimbursed by the state, though.
We get reimbursed usually if I bill them.
we're paying
We
for
have
it
to bill
anyway.
before the 15th of the month, and we usually get reimbursed by the 23rd or 25th. We get reimbursed in that same month.
So how many miles per month is that?
Usually around 500 to 600. It kind of depends where her
500 to
clients are.
600. I mean, that's not terrible wear and tear on a vehicle if that's all she's using.
Well, no, but
Yeah, we
year
had to be-
year after year after year, and
It's just an idea because
Could we lease?
you're putting too many miles on it for a lease.
We get her a moped.
Well, that was, I mean, not my thought, but I mean, a really good gas mileage vehicle that, you know, but you don't want something that she's gonna be comfortable driving, you know, putting a lot of wind. Right.
Prius.
Yeah, so, yeah, get
That's
50
the
miles a
number
gallon.
one car used for taxi cabs in California.
I'd entertain it. I'd just like to see kind of some numbers on it,
and
maybe
I could try
some.
to figure out, you know, how much if we bought a vehicle and, you know, the wear and tear. But it was just an idea. You know, some other counties have kind of, like the city of Columbia had that big thing about people driving city vehicles outside the, you know, city. So I didn't know how you guys felt about her taking it to 18 counties, basically.
As far as insurance?
No, just how you felt about it.
People complaining about seeing.
People complain, yeah, because like our
Cole
staff
County
that-
license plate in
Yeah.
Randolph County.
And we don't let them drive home if they don't.
Well, I followed one of our ambulances one time on 54 all the way through Camden, and I guess they were transporting a patient somewhere.
Yeah, and you know, our people that are on call, we don't let them. They live outside the county.
I mean,
It was
I don't
just
have a
idea.
problem with it. I mean, you know, I think if you just explain to them, well, that's our adult head injury coordinator. She's going out and doing what she's supposed to do. So, and maybe you could even Cole County Health adult head injury coordinator or something. I mean,
They get one of those magnetic things on the side.
yeah.
I could talk to her about it and see if she would be open to it. I know she has a separate vehicle that she drives that gets
Does
really
she?
good gas mileage, and you know,
If she wants to
Yeah.
keep doing it that way, I'm fine.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if she would rather have a county vehicle, I'd entertain it.
Okay.
I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to be putting that many miles
No.
on
Me
my own
neither.
personal vehicle. But
She's probably making money.
Yeah, what are we paying, 50?
47.5.
Okay,
Yeah.
We're not at CONUS, right?
okay.
We're still above the state. The state, I think, is
so I was
40.
saying 500 miles a
Okay.
month. It's not too bad. Not too bad.
Anyway, it was just the idea.
Yeah.
And then I was out on Friday, but Mary said that somebody came by and looked at our building at your request, so. Did you know that? No? Yes. He said you sent him some.
Oh,
photos.
probably Greg Bowman. He emailed
Oh.
us too about some properties.
Yeah.
I said, well,
Yeah.
go look what they have out there.
Yeah.
And if you have some idea, because he is into commercial realty, I said,
Yeah.
I'm
He told
fine with
Mary
you
to
throwing
get
us some
the perfect
ideas.
building for us on the east side of town.
Well,
East side would
I
really
still
be
think
a
the
good.
medical office building is probably the perfect place for y'all. if we
East
can
side
ever
would be a
swing
good.
something like that.
Big.
Anyway.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? No. Move we recess till 4:30.
Second.
Aye.
Bye.
Hey, Lynn, do you want